Good evening, everyone. We're now going to call the June 15, 2023 San Diego County Board of Supervisors special meeting of the Flood Control District meeting, In-Home Supportive Service Public Authority meeting, the Sanitation District meeting, the San Diego County Fire Protection District meeting, and the County Successor Agency meeting to order. As a reminder, according to the board rules and procedures, audience members shall not whistle, clap, stomp feet, or anything that disrupts the proceedings. Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Thank you, Chairwoman Vargas. Supervisor Anderson. Here. Supervisor Desmond. Vice Chair Lawson-Remer. Here. Chair Vargas.
Vargas here. All right, we have quorum. Now, the only item for discussion today is the continuation of the budget hearings of the Chief Administrative Officer's recommended operational plan for fiscal year 2023, 2024, and 2024, 2025. So,
Thank you, Chairwoman Vargas. Members of the board, on May 4th, 2023, the Chief Administrative Officer's recommended operational plan for fiscal years 23 through 25 was released. Today marks the continuation of the budget hearings that began on Monday, June 12th, 2023, for the board to receive oral public testimony on all areas of the budget. Pursuant to the board's rules of procedure, members of the public that spoke at the hearing on Monday will not be allowed to speak again this evening. We have 33 requests to speak, 10 in person, and 23 requesting to speak by phone. If you'd like, Chairwoman, we'll jump right into public comment. Thank you. Any members of the public that requested to speak by phone, please dial into the conference line now using the instructions that were provided to you. We'll begin with the in-person speakers. As your name is called, I'll ask you to please come forward and stand against the east wall under the murals until it is your turn to speak. I'll be calling you in groups of 5, so I'll ask you to please listen for your name. I'd like to first invite forward Kathy On, James Ramirez, Jerry Hall, Jonathan LaPule, Courtney Baltiski. Each speaker will have 2 minutes to address the board. I'll ask you to please state your name for the audio record. And you may come forward in any order.
Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to you. My name is James Ramirez. I'm a medical examiner investigator for the last 22 and a half years. I work closely with the investigation division. I'm also a SEIU 2-2 member for 22 and a half years. I'm one of 22 investigators who respond to all deaths in the San Diego County related to accidents, suicides, homicides, or any other death that is sudden and unexpected. We respond to all areas of this county, including the desert, the mountains, the borders, the freeways, the ocean. Anywhere that we have to respond to, we're responsible for identifying the decedents and locating and notifying the next of kin. In addition to several other duties mandated by law, on any given shift, an investigator may have 3 to 4 cases, which include driving to the scene, performing a thorough scene investigation, and body examination. Also identifying the decedent and locating and notifying the next of kin, and writing a 2 to 3 page report for our pathologists. And we are desperately in need of support to ensure we can continue to do our job safely, effectively, in a way that reduces our turnover rate. We have lost several investigators during COVID. Unfortunately, due to the oversight from our now departed medical examiner investigator supervisor, our much needed request for 2 additional medical examiner investigators for the budget were never submitted. Our division was shocked to discover that our division, out of all the divisions in our department, did not get allotted investigators. Despite the safety issues and despite being the only division to work 24 hours, 7 days a week. In summary, we are here to empathetically request that 2 additional investigator positions be added to this budget.
Thank you.
Doing so will cut down overtime.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good evening. My name is Kat On. I'm an investigator with the San Diego County Medical Examiner's Office. The medical examiner investigators are responsible for responding to scenes and conducting interviews so that we can assist our forensic pathologists in determining cause and manner of death. We are also responsible for identifying our decedents and for locating and contacting their family to notify them of their deaths. There has been and continues to be a large increase in the homeless population here in San Diego County, which has unfortunately led to a large increase in our caseload as we do need to investigate every death so that we can properly identify these individuals. We also need to locate their families, which may be difficult to find. In addition, our proximity to the US-Mexico border means we must investigate the deaths of the undocumented persons who attempt to cross and pass away in the process. We are also responsible for identifying these people and contacting their families to notify them of the passing, and this often involves international agencies and assistance. This is a substantial increase in the amount of work that is required to be done for just one case, one decedent. And in the course of a shift, an investigator may take on 3 to 4 cases, and they also need to conduct interviews, do the scene investigations, and follow up with families, write the reports that our doctors need. Despite this increase in caseload, we have not had an equivalent increase in staffing for our office. We have 22 medical examiner investigator positions, 5 of which are supervisory. And in order to provide coverage, we cover 24 hours every day of the year. Often we only have about 2 investigators on shift for the entire county of San Diego. We're requesting 2 new medical examiner investigator positions to help address this increased caseload so that we can afford every decedent and their family members the respect they are due. Thank you for your time.
Next speaker, please.
Good evening, Chair Vargas and supervisors and everybody present here. My name is Jerry Hall. I'm a resident of East Village. I served on the Behavioral Health Advisory Board for about 6 or 7 years, and the Alcohol Drug Advisory Board before that. What I bring before you is the first time I've ever brought this in 8 years, and it's something that I've been increasingly frustrated over and seeking your guidance. And the primary point is that the MHSA, the Mental Health Services Act, provides that millionaires provide 1% of their income over $1 million into a fund that gets distributed to the county. We get approximately $230 million a year. This year we get $393 million. Of that money, up to 5% can be used for community engagement, and that includes meaningful participation in the planning processes, which includes the evaluation, the planning, and the budgeting of not only the MHSA funds, but the entire budget of the mental health services or behavioral services. Since I've been involved, I haven't seen a single time that, or by law, that Behavioral Health Advisory Board is required to review and approve the county processes to do this work. Yet, in the last 8 years, I haven't seen an opportunity to review and approve that. It's something that's been a stubborn problem. And I think we have an ethical dilemma here, is that even though there isn't enforcement by the state, the fact is that we attest to the state that we are getting the review and approval of the Behavioral Health Advisory Board, and we are not. It's not something we can fix tomorrow or today. And I'm hoping that by the next year that we're able to get this cleaned up. Thank you.
Thank you. As the next speaker is coming forward, I'd like to invite the remaining speakers in person: Kim McDougall, Ellen Nash, Jesse Dolan, Celine Gonzalez, and Truth.
Talofalava. My name is Tana Lepule. I want to first thank the Board of Supervisors, the CAO, and the employees of San Diego County for the great work that you do. My name is Jonathan Lepule. I go by Tana. I'm affiliated with the Pacific Islander Collective of San Diego. I'd like to start off with the Samoan proverb, and that is, Esili letai ilona le taupuai. Esili letai ilona le taupuai. And that is, the person up front speaking is no more important than those that help to guide and foster and support the work that I do. With that, the hat I come to you with today is that I am a co-chair of the Community Council of the San Diego County Childhood Obesity Initiative. My ask today is that I would love for the county to dedicate $2 million to a produce prescription program like Mas Frescas program. This program helps San Diego County's most underserved residents and families access fresh fruits and vegetables while also supporting our local farmers and small businesses. San Diego County families have a hard time putting food on the table, made worse by the recent drastic cuts in CalFresh benefits and soaring inflation. Nearly 1 in 4 San Diegans, including 1 in 3 children, do not have enough food to eat. That should not happen in our backyard. Mas Frescos Plus has been successfully improving nutrition security and promoting local economic growth across the county, but needs additional funding to continue to serve the community. As a person who was born and raised in San Diego County, again, I appreciate all that you do. Let's continue to wage war on poverty, not on poor people. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good evening, Chair Vargas and Supervisors. My name is Courtney Baltiski. I'm a mother of two, a D1 community member, and partner with the Children First Collective. Yesterday, my daughter Nora graduated from kindergarten, and I immediately sent text and pictures to two people, my mom and the family child care provider, Miss Lara, who watched Nora since she was 4 months old. We celebrate everything together, and I'm here as an advocate and aspiring ally to family child care providers in our child care sector to ask you all to lean in and do that much more for working families and child care providers. We know that when families and child care providers are stabilized, kids win. We've come from Sacramento today advocating with thousands of child care providers around the Capitol. We were joyful to be together, and we bring the hope that we shared to our local budget discussion today. San Diego knows, as esteemed leaders, how important childcare is to our economy. We've seen you recognize this in investments with emergency funding into the sector, and you called for the creation of San Diego's first childcare blueprint. In our region, we've witnessed 10% of our childcare centers and 5% of our childcare centers, family childcare businesses close. Few are establishing new businesses. In budget considerations, we ask you to bring the childcare blueprint to life. Consider sustainable long-term funding for the sector, as well as evaluation for the blueprint, and ensure that pediatric mental and behavioral health for our 0 to 5-year-olds are accessible. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good evening, Chair Vargas and Supervisors. My name is Kim McDougall, and I am here tonight wearing my mom hat. My hat as a child care advocate, as well as a member of the Children's First Collective, and as the Senior Vice President of Social Services for the YMCA of San Diego County. I'm frequently asked, how do we solve the child care crisis? And other than a massive investment at the federal level, there really is no easy answer to this question. What I do know is that the crisis will not and cannot be solved on the backs of child care providers and parents. Providers are already accepting poverty-level wages to do this critical brain-building and economy-building, stabilizing work. And parents are already leaving the workforce or paying 30% of their income to cover the cost of childcare. We all must step up to do our part and alleviate the burden on parents and childcare providers. I am proud to live and work in a county that is stepping up with the San Diego County Child Care Blueprint. We should celebrate this historic accomplishment. We must now bring the blueprint to life and fund critical investments required to make it happen. I urge you to consider long-term dedicated funding to support child care providers, children, and families. And thank you so much for all that you do every day to make our community a great place to live and work.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, Chair Vargas and all of our supervisors. My name is Jessie Frazier-Dolan, and I am coming to you today as a child care provider. It is crucial that we take this opportunity. It's amazing that you have created a blueprint. Let's bring sustainable funding to life. I am lucky enough to have been a recipient of some of the funding that you provided throughout COVID. Without that support, our center would have closed. I can tell you that currently, what we face is a challenge because we're trying to provide care for working families. However, that's coming at the expense of the worker. Child care workers are required to have higher level education, yet they are paid minimum wage. This is an opportunity to invest in our future. The first 5 years of life has the most brain development. We can make a difference today, and I come to you as someone active in this field who creates professional development throughout the county for teachers, who works at a community college, to tell you that we need you, we need this funding, and we're grateful that you're even considering this. So thank you for this opportunity, and thank you for investing in our children and our families and our future.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hey everybody, it's Truth, ready to disrupt the status quo on Stakeholder Day. As part of Nora's inflated $8.1 billion We Got You budget, it was good to see a decrease of $10 million in Joel's fraudulent motel voucher program, where sex offenders can be given free rooms to reoffend. You know, that $10 million, it could go to my Freedom Warriors Conservation Fund instead. You should think about that. There's $24.3 million for only 16 beds in an Edgemoor psychiatric unit. $294 million of our money toward county government acquiring land away from our use. I'm still down to defund the register of voters since they can't answer basic voting questions, boo, and can't be trusted with any elections. Most people don't vote anyway, so let's do a people's refund of that $40 million wasted on them. Money's the only thing that gets most people civically engaged anyway. 15.5% of the budget is funneled from the federal government. That's a big clue on who's really running this circus show. And that would make the applicable clown stars really just puppets on federal strings, devoid of both power and ethics. No longer is our county government self-sufficient. It has gone to an outside source. And so many Americans are no longer truly self-sufficient either, as they become selfishly reliant on government in order to survive and function, which erodes away their dignity and self-respect. But anyone who wants to know why billions of our money has been wasted on programs that keep making things worse instead of better, it's because we haven't been operating as a constitutional Republican form of government as guaranteed to us in Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution for the United States of America. When the county became incorporated in 1851, it then became a corporation. A corporation's main concern, by default, must be financial, not human. Things got usurped, and the sooner everyone understands this, the sooner you can understand why our needs continue to go unrepresented fully like they should be. And that we need to take it all back. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Good evening. This is Ellen Nash. I'm coming as the chair of the San Diego chapter of Bay Black American Policy Association Foundation. I'm a lifetime D4 resident, and I wanted to come and just make a few comments on the budget process, and I'm just appealing to you to, in a passionate way, to really consider in your budget decisions the idea of, first of all, number one, youth investing in young people, particularly the non-justice young people. Those are the children that are at risk of going into some of the other challenges, but we would like to bring to your attention that there needs to be more of a focus on those children that are in the non-justice status, getting good grades in school, staying away from gangs, involved in their church activities, involved in the community activities, and so forth. That's one emphasis I would like for you to really consider with regard to your budget. I have done some research, and I understand that you have some achievement centers that are on the way or that are planned, and we would like to see that particular concept and idea also apply to all communities, particularly District 4. Also, the second thing is mental health. I just came back from vacation to find that one of my own high school buddies' grandson committed suicide at 16 years old. This is the first time in my life that I'd ever experienced a death of a young person, 16-year-old, that died and was from a very highly respected family in San Diego. So mental health does matter, and we need to really figure out how to prevent suicide among young people, as well as all folks, but particularly young people. And the third thing I would like to talk about is homelessness. I don't have to say much more than that, but homelessness is a problem too that we need to look at prevention side of it.
Your time is up.
Thank you very much. God bless.
Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Celine, and I worked for Edgemoor for 2 years. Out of 24 San Diego County facilities, Edgemoor is the lowest paid. Staff morale is low, short staff working conditions jeopardize the health of our patients. Our health and our ability to do our jobs and our professional licenses. We have multiple nursing staff members working modified duty. The recent wave of staff retirements and new hires are quitting has Edgemoor with a skeleton crew. We've lost 60 members of our nursing staff since 2022. I have 5 pending retirements. Because of this, workers at Edgemoor District's Part Skilled Nursing Facility hospitals are coming together in our union, SEIU Local 221, to call the San Diego County to work collaboratively with us to develop a comprehensive plan of action to address retainment and recruitment and alleviate the staffing crisis. We are asking for help to retain our current employees as well as our new hires. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now hear from those that requested to speak by phone. When it is your turn to speak, you will be unmuted and you will hear a recording that will tell you to begin your comments after the beep. I'd remind the callers they should mute their TV or live video stream before they begin speaking. We'll start with our first caller.
This is Ann Elliott. Good evening, Chair Vargas and Supervisors. My name is Ann Elliott, and I'm a resident of District 4. I urge you to support the $5 million budget allocation for the county's Immigrant Legal Defense Program. We must continue to fund the program because access to counsel is a civil right that should be afforded to everyone. Generally, immigrants facing deportation are not provided legal representation. Only 68% of detained immigrants have legal representation. When provided representation, immigrants are 5 times as likely to succeed. The Immigrant Legal Defense Program demonstrates our county's commitment to building stronger communities. We can help continue closing the gaps in legal representation and making our immigration system more just and humane. I feel that it is urgent that we welcome people who are desperate to escape violence and poverty, for which our own government often bears some responsibility through its meddling in the affairs of other countries. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Hi, hello, good afternoon. My name is Neda, and I'm a refugee who came to the U.S., San Diego, about 1 year and 4 months ago. I'm patient of a Lions Health Clinic, and since a few months ago, I have been receiving fresh fruits and vegetables through the Mass Fresco Plus program. I thank you for allowing me to use the blessings of the Mass Fresco Plus program, and this program is very beneficial to low-income families. Additionally, it's vital to the farmers and producers to locally grow fresh produce, create employment, and help with their economics. With the recent increase in price, low-income families have a hard time putting food on the table. About 1 in 4 San Diegans, including nearly 1 in 3 children, don't have enough to eat. This kind of program helps low-income families to benefit from fresh fruit and vegetables. Therefore, I would like to ask the county to dedicate the budget to the produce prescription program like Mass Fresco Plus. I thank you very much for listening to my comments and appreciate your helping San Diego County low-income residents. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Hi, Blair Beekman here. I'm now at my second public comment time at a San Diego County Board of Supervisors meeting. Thank you. I guess just a thank you overall, as I will be talking in the coming months at public comment time, I guess to start now. Thank you for or patience from yourself and myself, from yourselves and myself, trying to speak on issues of importance and to San Diego County and things you're working on. The concepts of check accountability are really important to myself, and its responsibility, its openness, and open public policy. I hope at the county level, you guys will want to practice well. And in fact, I think you can provide some good guidance and help cities like San Diego that have ambitious, good new plans for the future of technology accountability in their city, but can't quite bring it together as of yet. And it is an effort from all of us. I think we're all are trying to work towards those efforts. Good luck in your help in those efforts. And I figured this was a time just to mention those sort of things in reviewing the budget year and how to be planning and what to be expecting. I think minimal use practices with tech can often cover the same amount of a neighborhood area as a plethora and an oversaturation of tech. So it's good luck to ourselves to consider such things and how and the responsibility in planning the future of tech, and a real good luck in how you can add to, with my remaining time, the conversation on what to do about the future of SDMTS. Transdev seems like they have.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller.
Aló, buenas noches, soy la intérprete. Adelante.
Hola, buenas tardes, soy Leticia.
Hello.
Solo quiero compartir.
Good afternoon. ¿Su nombre, señora?
Leticia.
Okay, and my name is Leticia.
Y solo quiero compartir.
I just wanted to share with you.
Con el programa de Más Fresco Plus.
And with this,
familia.
with the program of Masco Plants and Families.
Se benefició muchísimo con el programa. Gracias a eso podíamos comer verduras y frutas frescas.
And because of these programs, we were able to eat vegetables and fresh fruit. Adelante.
Y eso me ayudó a mí y ayudó a trabajadores locales también, a negocios locales.
And not only did it help me, it also helped the local business and, neighborhood businesses.
Me gustaría que el condado siguiera apoyando este programa porque es un beneficio para el condado. Todo lo invertido es para el condado.
Okay.
Se me hace muy bueno este programa.
And I would like for the county to continue to support this program. This is a very good benefit, and this program is for us, and it also helps the county. So I really would like you to continue to support it.
Y esto, hasta yo siento que mis niños coman más verduras y más frutas nuevas. Con este programa comí verduras que eran caras para mí comprarlas y con él las pude consumir gracias a este programa por la cuestión económica que estamos ahorita.
Okay.
Me hace muy bueno esto.
And because of this program, my children, they were able to have fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, all this that we were not able to afford before. And, because they're very expensive. So because of this program, we were able to have that. And my children were able to eat that.
Es todo, gracias.
And that is all. Thank you.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Hola, mi nombre es María López.
Hello, my name is Maria Lopez.
Soy residente por 9 años en Vista, California.
¿De dónde, perdón, señora? ¿De Vista?
De Vista, California, sí.
Yes, and I've been a resident of Vista, California for 9 years.
Primero que nada, le quiero dar gracias a todos los que hicieron posible este programa de Más Fresco Plus.
First of all, I would like to thank all of you for this program of Desco Plus.
Desde la persona que sembró los vegetales hasta que las personas que vinieron a dejar la caja de verduras a mi puerta.
And this is starting with the people who harvest the vegetables all the way to those who came over and left them at the door of my house.
Somos una familia de 7 personas.
Our family is 7 people.
Para mí no me es posible manejar, entonces para mí fue de grande ayuda que vinieran los vegetales a mi puerta.
And this is, I'm not able to handle all of that. So for me, you know, just to have them at my door, that was big help.
Tengo una hija de 8 años que tenía anemia.
I have a daughter. She's 8 years old and she had anemia.
Y gracias a los vegetales ella pudo superar su anemia.
And thanks to the vegetables, she was able to go ahead and overcome her anemia.
La llevé a su chequeo físico y la doctora dijo, wow, ¿qué estás haciendo? ¿Qué estás comiendo? Porque tu anemia desapareció. Y yo le dije, los vegetales que llegaban a mi casa.
Okay. And when I took her to the doctor, she said to me, wow, what is she doing? She doesn't have anemia anymore. And I told the doctor that's because of the vegetables that we're getting at home.
Entonces yo le expliqué del programa Más Fresco y ella dijo, oh, eso es bueno. Dice, necesitas darme información para que yo siga diciéndole a las familias que hagan lo mismo que ustedes hicieron. Cómo mejoró su vida los vegetales.
And I explained to her about the program Más Fresco, and she told me, wow, please, I need to find out about it, you know, so I can have other families with this program.
Gracias a esos vegetales yo pude cocinar y conocer vegetales nuevos que yo no podía comprar porque para mí son muy caros.
And thank you to those vegetables, I was able to cook, and I became aware of other vegetables as well. And some of these vegetables, I was not able to purchase them because they were too expensive.
Les doy muchas gracias por el programa.
I really want to thank you for this program.
Pero también quisiera, por favor, que donaran $2 millones de estos productos con receta como Más Fresco para que muchas familias se beneficien, desde los que venden en las tiendas. Y me gustaría, ahorita estoy un poco triste porque ya no recibo la caja y es para mí difícil comprar los vegetales.
But I also would like to ask you a favor. I would really like you to donate $2 million for, so we can have them, so we can continue to have these vegetables and so they can sell them at the stores. I'm a little sad right now because I'm not able to get the boxes of those vegetables. I don't get them anymore.
Yo estoy tratando de sembrar vegetales en macetas, pero no me es posible porque vivo en un lugar muy pequeño, entonces les pido de favor que nos puedan proveer nuevamente los vegetales.
And I would just like to harvest them in pots, but I'm not able to do it because I live at a small place. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller.
Hi, my name is Joyce Nygaard. I'm calling from Alpine. I'm concerned about the size and scope of the Alpine Park. In the budget, it is called the Alpine Local Park, but it is clear Parks and Recs intends for it to be a regional destination. This budget reflects the bloated cost associated with that. Compared to the last budget, capital costs have increased $10 million, operational costs by $5 million, and ongoing overhead by $100,000. This budget also allocates over $10 million for design, environmental analysis, and easement acquisition to provide safe access to the park. This should have been part of the initial planning and EIR. I'm concerned that easement acquisition could involve the use of eminent domain. This budget also includes $3.25 million for a bike skills course in East County, duplicating what is currently included in the Alpine Park plans. Please listen to the majority of Alpine residents and scale this project back to its original scope, thus saving county taxpayers millions of dollars. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Good evening, Chair Vargas and Supervisors. My name is Felicia Gomez, and I'm the Immigrant Rights Senior Policy Advocate at the ACLU of San Diego and Imperial County. The ACLU is a proud member of the Invest in San Diego Families Coalition. We are here to urge the Board of Supervisors to continue its investment in the county's Immigrant Legal Defense Program by approving the $5 million 2023-2024 county budget allocation for this program. Thank you, Vice Chair Lawson Reamer, for your continued leadership in this work. Access to legal counsel is a fundamental civil right. For immigrants detained at the Otay Mesa Detention Center facing removal proceedings, the Legal Defense Program is vital to ensuring due process and a more just immigration court system. Data shows that detained immigrants who have access to counsel succeed more than 5 times as often as their unrepresented counterparts, but 68% of detained immigrants in California remain unrepresented. When a loved one is detained or deported, it impacts their entire family and community. The detention or deportation of a family member often means the loss of a household's primary income. Detention or deportation can cause household incomes to fall on average by half and can sometimes leave them without an income. The Legal Defense Program gives people a fairer chance at seeking relief from deportation and rejoining their families. Through its ongoing funding of the Legal Defense Program, San Diego County can help continue closing the gap in legal representation and making our immigration system more just and more humane. Having the program available is an important step, but we still have a lot of work to do to ensure that all immigrants who need legal counsel have access to it. We urge the Board of Supervisors to approve the $5 million county budget allocation for the Immigrant Legal Defense Program. By approving this funding, the Board of Supervisors will demonstrate the county's commitment to due process and building stronger communities. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Now hear from the next caller.
Hi, my name is Richard Lambert, and I live in District 4. I would like to know if a portion of your budget is to spend more money on bike lanes, taking away essential parking and access from local businesses. These businesses already suffered major hardships as a result of the county's response to COVID-19. And now, adding insult to injury, you are taking away essential parking and access to provide bike lanes, of which only a little over 1% of the public make use. Furthermore, many cyclists say that bike lanes put them in greater risk than riding with traffic. How about using our tax dollars to actually improve our roads and fix the increasing pothole problem, making it safer for bicyclists and motorists alike? I would also appreciate knowing what portion of the budget will be dedicated to solving the homeless problem. The county continues to throw huge amounts of money at this admittedly major problem, the result of which is that the problem has gotten worse and the numbers have increased instead of dropping. Shouldn't we enforce existing laws enacted to remove and relocate these unfortunates from our business fronts, public parks, and business parking lots, where they defecate, leave trash, and generally make the areas repugnant to hardworking and responsible citizens? Can't we find ways to help people avoid becoming homeless in the first place? With rental subsidies and job search programs? Can we find ways to deal with the mental health problems and drug and alcohol abuse issues? How about joining hands with local churches and nonprofits like Father Joe's Villages, the Alpha Project, the Salvation Army, or San Diego Rescue Mission, to name a few, who already have successful programs to empower individual families and communities by providing work, recovery, housing, and support services to people who are motivated to change their lives and achieve self-sufficiency, instead of simply providing housing.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller.
Hello, this is Catherine Rhodes. Today, Shane Harris had a press conference on AB 512 on the county's agreement to be a sponsor of state law allowing foster youth orphans to keep their benefits. My question for staff is, in previous years, did the orphans' money from the federal government go into the county's general fund, or did it go to a specific department like CPS? And during today's press conference, I found out some disturbing news about county protective services. What I heard there is that CPS routinely takes low-income children of color out of their neighborhoods when the children or family never claim child abuse, and refuses to place the children with family or friends. Many families consider CPS kidnaps the kids and puts them in juvenile dependency court, supposedly for the child's safety, and into the county child foster system for several years, and many become homeless. In contrast, in wealthier local neighborhoods, CPS is leaving children who claim physical and sexual abuse with their declared abusers for decades, and refuses to move the declared children who want child safety from family court to juvenile court, where abused children are allowed to have a voice. I think you really do need to investigate the Child Safety Department. Something is definitely wrong. Thank you so much, and I agree with almost everybody who talked today. There's a lot of great discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller.
Hello, my name is Courtney Norton, and I'm an Alpine resident of over 30 years and a homeowner. Thank you, Board of Supervisors, for the opportunity to speak this evening regarding the proposed budget. I would like to address the proposed budget for the Alpine Park. The budget has grown from $28 million to a whopping $43 million in just 2 short years, without justification on exactly why. I echo the concerns from my fellow Alpine community members that the scope of the proposed park is not what the community wants. We want a smaller passive park in this location that is in line with the character of the location and what was originally promised, not this monstrosity that is being shoved down our throats. Our representatives are wearing blinders and ignoring a large demographic of our community who are not in favor of this development. A park of this magnitude would wreak havoc and destroy the country character of our town, and the main question is why. We are stewards of this land. Developing this untouched property that abuts a nature preserve and is home to native flora and fauna is simply neglectful. I appreciate the time to speak this evening, and please listen to the community and scale back this proposed park. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller.
My name is Estela Chamu.
Go ahead.
Necesito intérprete, please.
Ok, señora, adelante, yo soy el intérprete.
Sí, mi nombre es Estela Chamu.
Okay.
Le doy las gracias a los supervisores y miembros del concilio.
Okay, my name is Estela Chamo, and I really would like to thank, the Board of Supervisors.
Este programa ayudó a los residentes y familias que afectó la pandemia del COVID-19 del condado de San Diego.
This program has really helped the residents that, we were all affected, by the pandemic, in the whole county of San Diego.
A llevar a nuestras mesas y acceder a frutas y verduras frescas al mismo tiempo.
And this because they brought to our tables fresh fruits and also fresh vegetables.
Los agricultores y locales y otras pequeñas empresas salimos ganando todos juntos.
Because of the agriculture, little businesses, all of us have won from this.
Las familias del condado de San Diego estamos pasando dificultades para comer más sano.
Because the families of the San Diego County, we have had difficulties eating this.
Y tener una vida más sana y saludable.
And this way we can have a much healthier life and be healthier.
Y nos perjudicó los drásticos recortes en los beneficios de Calfrey.
And what we were really hurt by is the cuts that we had in the benefits. Perdón, ¿qué beneficio, señora?
Lo de cartridge, de estampilla.
Of cartridge. We were really, really, damaged because of that.
Uno de cada 4 habitantes de San Diego, incluyendo casi 1 de cada 3 niños, no tienen suficiente para comer.
1 out of 4 people in San Diego, and that includes 3 or fewer children, do not have enough food to eat.
Y Más Fresco Plus ha estado mejorando con mucho éxito la seguridad nutricional.
And with this program, Más Fresco Plus is really helping, with the safety of everyone.
Pero son necesarios los fondos que se apruebe adicional para que continúe sirviendo a la comunidad.
However, additional funds are really needed in order to continue, with the health of the county and, San Diego.
Este programa también impulsó al crecimiento económico y aumentar el gasto en productos cultivados y apoyando a los ingresos para los empresarios.
And this has really helped because it has helped the economy and it's helping the harvesters and all the people in those communities and those employees.
Hay pocos programas que abordan y que se preocupan por la salud y las enfermedades crónicas por falta de comida nutritiva.
There is a few programs that really are concerned, with the health, of families. There's just only a few.
Yo quiero agradecerle de todo corazón a todo el equipo que formaron este programa de Más Fresco y a los choferes que hicieron realidad y lograron que la comunidad.
Okay. Out of my heart, I really, really want to thank you for this program and for the drivers that have been really doing and helping the community.
Por un año, tuvimos 24 cajas de frutas y verduras frescas.
For a whole year, we have had 24 boxes of vegetables and fresh fruits.
Thank you.
Gracias, señora. Thank you.
Now hear from the next caller.
Hi, I'm Annie Norton, and I thank you for this opportunity to share my love and vision of Alpine, the town I call home for over 30 years. Location, location, location. Isn't that the mantra that any wizened developer gauges if a property will be successful? Then why is this proposed park in Alpine in the worst location possible for the community and the county? Supervisor Anderson should know perfectly well that the size and magnitude of this proposed park is well beyond the vision that Alpiners see the need for. He raised his 3 children here and knows the proposed location has neither existing nor planned infrastructure to handle the enormous influx this park will have in our hamlet of a town. This budget does not even include essential sidewalks to access the park safely. Who dreamed of this mega overbuilt project anyway? Obviously, people who have no clue or respect for its citizens' wishes. The price tag of this unwanted, disruptive park continues to grow to monstrous proportions when really all this location needs is to remain passive with minor improvements costing a fraction. And where the remaining monies could be used more wisely is within the town center. In combination with its neighbor, Wright Field, this patch of pristine habitat can remain the gem of Alpine. It is because of this park's location as a passive park that shines and draws people to Alpine. Don't waste their money. If the Department of Parks and Recreation really wants to envision parklands for Alpiners, then go back to the drawing board and use the initial $28 million this park was supposed to cost and to find better locations within the higher populated areas of town where there already is infrastructure established and where the need for such park services can be maximized. These redefined pocket parks could be ideal and in tune with the character and needs of it.
Thank you.
Please
We'll now hear from the next caller.
Good afternoon, Chair Vargas and Supervisors. My name is Mayra Soto Gonzalez Hayden. I'm a resident of District 2. I'm calling today to urge you to support a $5 million budget allocation to support the Immigrant Legal Defense Program. Our region is stronger because we're trying to ensure due process for all people. To ensure our county continues promoting a culture of equity, belonging, and racial justice, we must look to those who are looking to join us in this mission. Our inclusion and diversity is our power. Access to legal counsel is a civil right, a right that many are seeking and have to take life-threatening trips across our borders to seek. Many of these folks are fleeing a nation that has limited their chances at having a healthy and happy life because their nation does not foster the same inclusion and equity that we strive for. By ensuring we continue to increase funding to the ILDP, we can continue to close the gap in legal representation and make our immigration system more just and more humane. Supervisors, we do ask you to continue with our commitment to due process and building stronger communities. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller.
I'm Dominique Norton, an Alpine native. I'm speaking in opposition to the funding for the Alpine County Park included in the budget. The public's overwhelming opposition to the scope of the proposed park has been voiced by the community throughout the whole public process. It is not lost on me that tonight's BOS hearing is overlapping another county meeting being held in Alpine. I grew up in Alpine. I spent countless hours playing in the proposed park site, and I'm deeply grateful for what the property taught me. It helped shape who I am today. I moved back to Alpine to raise my family. I'm a mother of a 4-year-old and a 1.5-year-old who love spending their days exploring what all the property has to offer. My family hopes to continue to enjoy the site as close to the current state as possible. Children do not need more manicured fields or playgrounds to play on. It already exists in our community. In fact, the county recently completed an extensive enhancement of playing fields using considerable amount of county funds at our local middle school, which is almost adjacent to this proposed park. So why do we need more? Children need access to open space with native grasslands and Engelmann oak woodlands that support threatened and endangered species. They need to be offered a location to ground themselves in nature. If we pave over our sensitive habitat, what are we leaving our children? A site that will be degrading over time and that will continue to contribute to the ever-looming climate crisis we're faced with. Children need us as adults to do the right thing, to make the hard decisions, not to develop every possible location within our precious county into a concrete jungle. The public's overwhelming opposition to the scope of this park has been voiced by the community repeatedly, yet the budget continues to balloon. Please critically examine the community's expressed wishes. Thank you for your time, for giving me an opportunity to speak, and for your service. Good night.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller.
Good evening, Chair Vargas and Supervisors. My name is Gianna Giacalone, pronouns she, her, and I am a resident of District 4. Our region is stronger when we ensure due process for all people. San Diego County must continue to fund the Immigrant Legal Defense Program because access to counsel is a civil right that should be afforded to everyone. Through its ongoing funding of the ILDP, San Diego County can help continue closing the gaps in legal representation and making our immigration system more just and more humane. It will also demonstrate the county's commitment to due process and building stronger communities. Access to legal counsel is a fundamental civil right and a cornerstone of our justice system. However, immigrants facing deportation are not provided court-appointed counsel. They are often forced to face our complex immigration court system without legal representation. Data shows that access to counsel in immigration court matters. Immigrants who have counsel succeeded more than 5 times as often as their unrepresented counterparts. But 68% of detained immigrants in California were unrepresented. If we want to support immigrants, we need to show up and offer effective avenues for support, not make the near impossible process even harder. When we look at the difficult immigration process, I often marvel at how anyone can be expected to go through it without guidance. People deserve a fair shot, which starts with access to legal counsel. Immigration detention and deportations harm California families and communities. It is worth the budget to guarantee families are not separated and we uphold the right to counsel. I urge you to support the $5 million budget allocation for the county's Immigrant Legal Defense Program. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller.
Thank you very much to staff for constructing this thoughtful budget balancing multiple priorities, and to our supervisors for encouraging public comment. My name is Erin Hogeboom. I am Director of San Diego for Every Child, an initiative across our county to cut the experience of child poverty, and I am also co-lead of the Children First Collective San Diego, a grouping of organizations and individuals passionate about tackling the child care crisis across our San Diego communities. In both of these roles, I understand that the county plays an absolutely crucial part in helping to support a service, a lifeline really, that is sought at the local level, and that is child care. We could not be more ecstatic about the release of the San Diego Child Care Blueprint, but we also understand that a plan without a budget runs the risk of sitting on a shelf somewhere gathering dust, while children, families, and providers lose out on the opportunity to benefit from the vision they helped create. I want to thank each of you for your support of the child care sector throughout the pandemic. Let's not stop now. Please support implementation of the blueprint by allocating evaluation dollars in the upcoming budget to ensure that we're meeting the goals it's laid out. Please consider including mental health metrics for young children in your accountability measures and call for them to be met with funded programming. And finally, thank you for your commitment to exploring fiscal possibilities for local dedicated funding for the child care sector. Finally, alongside other callers, I'd also like to request your continued and increased support for the Mosque Fresco Plus program. Thank you again for hearing community input this evening.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller.
And Catherine, there are many, many things wrong here, and the problem is that no matter how many billions and trillions of dollars we throw at things, when the problem is our own government, nothing will change. And the problem also is that the people are acquiescing and just being complacent and allowing this to happen. They're allowing their own local government to engage with a global entity to dictate what happens in our own communities. Why do you think it is that anytime anybody comes from the community to say what they want, it doesn't matter if they beg and plead, all the county or any of these entities do is throw money at the people and try and suffice them with that, not solving any of the problems, just telling them to go along to get along, because if you do not, you will not be a part of the society that they are creating around us. But it's all intentional. It's all by design. Otherwise, these people would not be engaging with the United Nations, trying to usurp the authority of the local government, therefore giving them no say what happens over all of us. If they really care, they wouldn't be going to these other entities to see what is best for the communities at a local level. That's why, people, it is so important for you to understand that the billions of dollars that they spend of your hard-worked money will never go to fix all of the problems that go on in our communities, because the people that are taking this money to throw at the problems are the ones burning your house down, saying, here's the money to rebuild. It's up to us to finally break away from this system and realize that these people will never do anything that is for you if they are engaging with entities that have no clue what is going on at a local level and want to dictate things on a worldwide level. It's up to us, you guys, to see that and to see that no matter how many times we come to these people, they will never do what you ask.
Thank you. For the record, that caller was Audra. Now hear from the next caller.
Good evening. My name is Dawn Rosen, and I am not neither. I am a member of ACE, which is the Alliance of Californians for Community Empowerment. I am in District 3. I wanted to make you aware of some of the things that are really bothering me about public safety. We had a town council meeting here over the last couple of days, and for the homeless encampments, and I'm very concerned at the vote because it passed, and I'm wondering if parents are arrested. Does that mean that children go into the system? If seniors and disabled are arrested, what if a medical emergency were to happen, or worse, death, I would like to ask, are our police officers trained and ready to deal with the mentally ill? I just don't think so. There was civil unrest at this town council meeting, people saying that, housed children shouldn't have to be walking over unhoused children. Our homeless situation is out of control, and not everybody, is defecating and, peeing and doing, things that are crimes. I mean, a lot of people are unhoused due to these unnecessary substantial renovations, and they're homeless with their children in the street. And there is just such a divide of the social classes right now, and I just don't really feel that this being thrown on the police department to be, basically jailing people. I mean, we need to humanize, not criminalize. This is just really horrific. Seeing there was, arguing going on.
Thank you. We'll now hear from the next caller.
Good evening, Chair Vargas and Supervisors. My name is Karen Fierro. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a resident of District 3 and a supporter of the ACLU. Our region is stronger when we ensure due process for all people. This is why I urge the San Diego County Board of Supervisors to continue funding the Immigrant Legal Defense Program. Access to counsel is a civil right that should be afforded to everyone. I applaud my supervisor for their work on this initiative and all that's been able to accomplish since its founding. With ongoing funding, this program can continue closing the gaps in legal representation and making our immigrant system more just and more humane. As an immigrant and someone who has worked directly with undocumented and immigrant families, I know that not everyone in our community have ready access to legal representation. The opportunity to talk through your case with an immigration attorney could make the difference between a family discovering a path for relief that they did not know existed or face the separation and trauma of deportations. I urge you to support the $5 million budget allocation for the county's Immigrant Legal Defense Program. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. And Chairwoman Vargas and members of the board, this concludes oral public testimony on the budget. Members of the public may still provide written testimony in the budget online. To comment online on the budget, please visit the county's website at www.sandiegocounty.gov/budget. Testimony must be in writing and be received no later than the close of the budget hearings, which is next Wednesday, June 21st, 2023 at 5 p.m. All materials received will be distributed to the board, the Chief Administrative Officer, the Office of Financial Planning, and placed in the public record. Change letters from board members and the Chief Administrative Officer are also due to my office by the close of the budget hearings next Wednesday, June 21st, 2023 at 5 p.m. Law precludes my office from accepting change letters after that deadline. All change letters received will be distributed to the board, the Chief Administrative Officer, and the Office of Financial Planning shortly after that 5 p.m. deadline. The budget deliberations and adoption are scheduled for Tuesday, June 27th, 2023, which is the next regularly scheduled meeting of the board. Thank you, Chairwoman Vargas.
Thank you. So again, thank you to all of the members of the public who came down here today for the budget process. This was the second one, as it was mentioned. But I just want to ask a couple of questions before we conclude the meeting, and I don't know if my colleagues have any other questions, but 2 questions. Holly, I wanted to ask about specifically the medical examiner, because I know that there's already funding in there, so I want to make sure that we highlight that for those that were here today.
Thank you, Chairwoman Vargas and members of the board. First, I just want to thank the medical examiner investigators who came down. Incredibly important work. They've seen a very significant rise, as you know, in their caseload over the past several years, primarily driven by dramatic increases in overdose deaths. And they're critical to determining cause and manner of death for individuals, decedents in our community. We did add 2 investigators and 2 office assistants in 22-23. And fortunately, if you look at the number of deaths in 2022 compared to the previous year. We are seeing, this year, I'm sorry, in 2023, we're seeing a leveling off. So we're at 4% less deaths as of this point this year than we were last year. That's good news. We're starting to see things level off. We do have positions in the investigators unit scheduled for 24-25, request for additional staff that will come forward then. The addition of office staff is meant to alleviate some of the administrative burden on the investigative unit.
And then for the Health and Human Services folks, I have two questions. One, I know that we are getting the child care blueprint, and so I just want to because the board hasn't gotten the official report yet, I want to make sure that we that there's funding in the budget for some of the recommendations that might be in there. And then the other one was I had asked questions about the Más Fresco program as well, so just want to make sure that some of that is already in there.
Let me turn the time over to Nick Mashion, our agency director.
Yeah, thank you, Chairwoman. And we have our leader that's been driving the child care blueprint, so I'll ask her to come. Dr. Kim Giardini will speak to that, and then we'll talk about the Más Fresco next.
Great. Good evening, Chairwoman and members of the board. So within the HHSA budget, we currently have a total of $35 million included for child care. That includes $32 million for our CalWORK Stage 1 child care, $2 million for our Child Care Bridge program, which serves our children in foster care, and $1 million for respite child care, which also serves children in foster care. There's some rollover funding from ARPA, $16.5 million that'll be included in the adjusted 23-24 budget to support some of the investments, and it's specifically linked to some of the elements of the child care blueprint. So $10 million for our workforce investment funds, which includes support for building the child care workforce, as well as a cost estimation modeling study that'll be done. Additional expansion of the Child Care Bridge program to support kids as they exit foster care and return home to their parents. $2 million for our Child Care Shared Services Alliance program. And then there is still $2 million for the child care facility development and $1.5 million that was newly added as part of the assistance for home workers and child care workers.
I know it's never enough, but thank you. Appreciate that. Go ahead.
Yes, and Chairwoman, members of the board, what you heard about Más Fresco is indeed a very effective program. Access to not only healthy food, but an anti-poverty measure. We have access to food, access to healthy food being a priority for our agency. So I'm going to have Rick Wani from our self-sufficiency, our director, speak, followed by Dr. Liz Hernandez, our director for public health services, speak to our food program access.
Good evening, Chairwoman Vargas, members of the board. Your board approved the Más Fresco program in June of 2021 under the ARPA framework. 3-year program for $3 million. The program is fully operational under a county contract. And as we go into the next fiscal year, 23-24, the program is funded for the final $1 million for the program. Currently, there are over 2,000 slots available in the program over the 3 years. And the participants receive a $50 value food box of fresh, locally sourced fruits and vegetables twice per month. And as mentioned, we also are seeking other resources for funding, and also we have our other food programs such as CalFresh and other programs in the community that we promote to our participants.
Good afternoon, Chairwoman and members of the board. We also have an agreement with the San Diego Foundation to fund community food grant program, and they're in the process of finalizing 43 contracts totaling $5.5 million of ARPA funding with community groups that service those living in the health equity quartile all throughout the region. And one of the focus areas of this grant includes multiple community garden developments and expansions for the community to use. They're also funding the creation and expansion of food pantries with fresh fruits and vegetables, And another example where this grant funding is to open a community-owned and governed food co-op, with the long-term result being a sustainable cooperative grocery store. So while these are some examples of projects that will improve healthy food access and a better food system, we are still continuing to pursue funding in this area as well. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't think there's any other questions. I just want to say again, thank you to the team. Thank you to everyone who was able to come here, and then all of the different organizations who also send each one of us requests or items that they wanted us to prioritize. And I think if you look at this budget, it really prioritizes investments to address not only homeless or unsheltered population, maintain critical services, support mental health care services, address climate change, and increase staffing to support important programs and county operations, to name a few. So we are definitely looking, as a county, looking forward to moving to the future and some of the impacts that the economy is facing as well. But we want to make sure that we continue to make investments in services and programs, always with equity in mind, to make sure that our communities that need it the most are taken care of. So with that, appreciate everybody getting involved in the process. Thank you for staying late, and I hope you have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you, when is the next meeting? June 27th. Thank you.